We all have wisdom. That's a fact. A 6-year-old has a 6-year-old's wisdom, and a 90-year-old might have, or certainly has a 90-year-old's wisdom. It doesn't mean that her wisdom is the same learning from life that anybody else is, even at the same age. But none of us use our wisdom, even what we know to be wise, consistently. That's just part of being human. That's why we are constantly growing and learning and hopefully striving to be wise and to act on what we know. That's the difference between preaching and doing. We can all tell one another what's wise, but are we optimizing our own lives and our choices on the basis of that same wisdom? One of the things that we know to be wise is to realize that we have limits to our strength in given circumstances. You and I might say, I've reached my limit. But what do we do then? Do we give up and back down? Or do we do something that we also know to be wise, which is lean on another person or reach out for their power to be married to our power so that suddenly we have the ability to lift and sustain and endure? One of my favorite stories is of a father and a son on a hike, and the boy looks down and sees a fairly hefty rock, and he looks at his father and he says, "Dad, do you think if I use all my strength, I can move that heavy rock?" And the father looks at the boy, looks at the rock and says, "Yeah, I think if you use all your strength, you can certainly move that rock a little." And he looks and he watches as his son huffs and puffs and approaches the rock from every angle and doesn't succeed in moving it at all. And the boy gets more and more frustrated, as all of us do in those cases, looks up at his father and says, "But you lied to me. You told me that if I used all my strength, I could move it." And the father says, "I didn't lie to you. You haven't used all your strength. You never once asked me to help you move it. We have each other. We're not living in silos in isolation. None of us is on an island, I don't believe, alone, which means that all of us have the opportunity to gain strength from each other, to move the boulders in our way, in our path, and in our lives. That doesn't just mean the obstacles, those heavy things, but it means to gain strength when ours fails us. It's like when I play singles versus doubles in racquetball. I can only run so hard and for so long playing singles, which is what I prefer, by the way. But I know that in doubles, I have the advantage of having somebody else's strength, not only their endurance, but their skill set to bring to mine. So do we bring that to bear on our lives? Are we doing that this week in situations where we are struggling or realizing that we're at limits? Are we then marrying our power source within us to the power sources around us, a family, a friend saying, "I need help solving this problem. I've reached the limit of what I can do in this moment." Or, "I need help lifting this problem. Will you help me, just as I would in the future and have in the past, helped you lift and sustain and endure?" So my thought is realize that one of the ways that we can be more expansive is to be more embracing. To be more embracing, it doesn't mean that we need to develop larger muscles, though we do with every challenge in our lives. But it means that we need to know that wisdom means sometimes and often to reach out and pull in the people around us, to be in relationship and to benefit and give benefit from that relationship. I hope this provokes some thought, and more than thought, I hope it provokes some good choices, some action in your lives. If you want to leave comments, stories, anecdotes, of course you're welcome.